Diddy. Diddy. Come here. Come here. Come on. If you're going to bark, come on. Come on. Come say hi. InShalla and Ashe. Did you hear Diddy barking in the background? He's like, Mom, what's the matter? What's happening? Aw, he gave you a wink. So lucky. So welcome to the daily snippet. I know I'm a little slow today, but Tonya D here, holistic Sha'medium and subtle energy surgeon. And it is Saturn Day, or Saturday, October 30th, 2021. So as we kind of are cascading and enveloping into the season of Scorpio, I'm actually going to be recording my musing moon meditation later today for this Scorpio new moon, the goddess herself, bringing in her system of higher philosophy and other worldly beings. But I am also putting together a program, part 2, Voices of the Other World. It's going to be a live online gathering to connect with just that. So it's going to be really part 2 of uncovering the secrets of the other world. So if you're interested or curious or maybe awakened, be sure to message me, as I'm going to limit this gateway to only 22 amazing soul inspired spirits. So just giving that a shout out. I'll be announcing that through the end of the year. I'm getting it all ready and out the gate. But today's elemental energy, finally we have a little energy to take our breath away. Just kidding. All this earth energy has definitely been curious. And earth herself as an energy is phlegm in the body when it's too much. So if you've had a cold with phlegm, that's the energy of the earth. It's phlegmy. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's been some phlegmy peeps out there, including myself. But we have this Yin Metal Pig Day as Xin Hai. So yang water energy with a pig. So when we come to the hour of the rat hour, which is later in the day, then we're going to have what's known as a water trine. So we can have the flow of water, brings in the reconciliation, brings in the peace. I have to hold Diddy. I'm telling you, he gets on the keyboard and all things go wild. But yeah, get in the flow of water. Our day is actually supported. There's lots of earth energy, right, to support the day. And also another friend. We have another friend there on the year stem. So you could meet somebody today if that's in your field of influence. And you could turn in actually and give energy to the day with that other yin energy. The branch herself, that water branch, thank God for the water goddess. And it has also nature hidden also below it. So our earth is getting some moisture. Our inner nature is getting fed as well. And fire is in storage. It's deep in the cave of the mountain, deep, deep, deep in the mountain. It kind of feels like it could be a kindling volcano in the deeper aspects of the mountain. But I would still bring in more water and also nature. Go out into the mountains, notice the leaves, find a bubbling, moving stream if you can, or a river. More importantly, find your inner peace and reconcile any of those entanglements. So today we have this cosmic energy of connecting to our spiritual channel, our subconscious, or even our higher self, the other worlds, right? So with the season of Scorpio, we have this connection, or more importantly, the ability to even dive deeper into the magic of the other world and just opening up that corridor. So today is a day where we can really go deep into those caverns of our spiritual acumen. These gifts are at their peak today. So if you are otherworldly today, maybe you're incapable of focusing, not going to do any of your Saturn day workout. I didn't. Literally an otherworldly kind of day. But also the door is open to our intuition and our psychic abilities to be actually in tune, like extra in tune, extra sharp, inquisitive. But before you go otherworldly, right, it's always best to log off from the world and then deliberately log into the other to connect to spirit. So generally a spiritual practice or an otherworldly offering will have much of a grander opening on a day like today. Plus we have the magic of the pagan holiday, the Samhain. I always think it says Samhain, but it's Samhain. Sounds like a song, Samhain. But that's like the fire of peace. So, like most rituals and offerings, 3 days is really perfect. You start integrating and climbing into that aspect, the other world, before you're centered in it. So 3 days is actually a perfectly rounded number. It's like the view between this world and the other world is actually said to be its thinnest. It marks the end of the harvest season. So, in doing so, the energy of today is one where we utilize our boundaries, our protection factor, which is a must, to maintain and also sustain our connection to our soul and our truth. So, sometimes our higher self, also known as our Sira, she gets drowned out by all our thoughts, our cosmic blast off, if you will, and also our feelings and even our egotistical ambitions. People that are a little over egotistical, um, they aren't really a soul's prime directive when we get that way, to be honest. So really just stay true to your soul, really take the time and give yourself authentic space to kind of single out your own authentic spiritual truths from those other aspects that are kind of mingling around the castle or your cosmic soup. We all have them, seen or unseen. So it really comes down to protecting ourselves, but more so protecting ourselves with honor, a higher octave of spiritual energy, integrity within our spiritual ingenuity, our genius, creating those conscious boundaries in that subconscious realm. So the energetic boundaries, that's what they really are. They're not the same as the fence around a house or the gate around the neighborhood. So we really have to weed through these thread lines, separating the intuitive channel from our inner thoughts and that wild inner dialogue that's scrambling up the waves, the thread lines. So our channel is like listening to spirit, but through chaos. So you have to get rid of all that debris, really, to separate our telepathic channel from our logical linear channel. That's like a snapshot. It might take a little longer than a minute, maybe two. But to separate our imaginational realm from our intuition, that's like a nano boundary because they're so close in that field. There are these little fractals. So you really just want to allow those thread lines to become really clear. Your thoughts that created that thread, that chain, clear that up, smooth it out. And then ultimately, you can track down the errors that are in that line. Usually, they're errors of judgment or blame, but usually judgment, blame, judgment, those kinds of things. And the last and the greatest gift of all that we all have, that is our gatekeeper, our guardian, the protector of our galaxy, if you will. So, this form of protection, to stay true and in alignment with our spiritual truths, this intuitive connection, while our mind is going off on a tangent, fighting with the ego, creating more disastrous debris, and sometimes hurting our feelings. This is all inside of ourself, our beingness. So you really have to honor your dive intuity, your divine intuition. You have to dive into it. So your spiritual truths, your inner knowledge, that dialogue in the castle of all of those voices that are actually competing for the narrative. I'm sure you've been with somebody who talks so much that you can't get a word in. That's the competition, right? But your spiritual truth, and sometimes that actually is a skill. It's a very necessary one. But when we create our sacred space today, that container, and when you do that, see if you could just single out one little thread line through that spiritual voice and see how it feels on what truly matters authentically in your spirit, your heart space, of all the voices to connect with and protect. Today, let it be the spiritual one. I would totally call in your gatekeeper and your guardian. Make sure they're online. And if you can tune in and listen to your intuition, your spidey senses, all of them, you might come to get the memo, like literally, you're getting thrown the line of what memo might be off today. It could be in your relationships, your finances, your home, your health, could be in anything. And then that river of denial, the denial channel, generally is the logical mind, where our intuition channel is going to really be a little more honest, probably a lot more blunt, could even be prophetic or profound. But the key, really, to access this gift or the treasure is if our mind herself is willing to open the gift and accept the information without any judgment, the gift herself, and receive it actually with love. So the lesson itself could be a spiritual one in the destination of how we feel about ourselves, kind of separating those two. So really be compassionate to yourself and also your feelings, and go along with your emotional thread lines. What do they truly need, the needs of those thread lines? So you need to just shift how you feel about yourself for the long run, and take your time and take your space to do that. I always like to take a 3-second pause in my breath when I'm kind of channeling in that way. So it's a day really to determine what your spirit is telling you and protect the truth of the matter. So, what is your drawbridge saying with spirit? Are you allowing in the spiritual insights, or are you closing them down before they even land because you believe you have to be a prophet or something to get those intuitive insights? God, universe doesn't function that way. So, even if you have spiritual karma, which we all do, in the areas you have to have energetic boundaries or personal boundaries, even kind of like self-preservation. If you're canning, you have to preserve, right? Preserve aspects of the self or whatever. So those are those energetic hiccups. They're tugging at the lines, and you're not really catching the fish, right? When you tug the line. But again, it's like you surrendering, and you're surrendering your spiritual truth to the bishop because of the label. It's a whole thing, right? So just surrendering to the other realms, surrendering to the other. So if you sense kind of temptation on an issue, that might be a test on any or all of your spiritual boundaries, those energetic spiritual boundaries that you actually hold for yourself at this thread line. So you really want to protect your sacred self, know that you are a blessing. There's a purpose, right? So today actually marks the completion of the issue within yourself that you've been eliminating within your field, within your energetic container since, say, February this year, the beginning of the Chinese New Year, February-ish. So this issue would usually involve usually it's something that we judge ourselves about inside of our container. It could be tied to grief, shame, remorse, guilt, any of those lower frequencies. So if you can, ultimately, forgive your inner garden for this and pull the weed today, it will be cascading out into the etheric highway forever space. So it's just moving, it's no longer there. So just take your own inner responsibility for your own inner heart's salvation. You might even salivate. Just expanding your consciousness and utilizing love, peace, and awareness, and spreading those positive vibrations and those positive energies out into the corridor to others. And even more so into the galactic highway, being more energized. That really doesn't require a lot of cleansing when we do this regularly, does it? So with our crown center open, the colors could be lavenders, burgundies, purples, really any shade that will elevate your consciousness, those waves to the spirit realm. They come in generally, for me, they're always effervescent colors like a rainbow. The moon herself is going to be in Virgo later today, so honing in on your inner healing and your own personal reality today through spirit, because they're kind of a duality with the energies. So we really are like sensing God universe, and we know where we belong in the future. And sometimes that right there, that's really the toughest question. You know, a lot of us might not have the answer actually at the moment, but just allowing our heart to be our beacon, to be our guide, and just be with our heart center, staying heart centric, is actually the key to access this container, this space. But also with the seed sound of the crown, the ong, and my nose is still nasally. Apologize for that, but not really. Going through my own process, integration. But the seed sound of ong, that's our spiritual connection, along with our shaman's portal together, integrating all the juiciness. With that, you could also bring in the sounds of water and the sounds of nature. The water's like the of blowing out a candle. And if you can hear Tiger and Lily fighting in the background, that's always exciting as well. And for fun, the animal of the day, Tiger, is the shark. The shark of all things. I'm trying to keep things kind of Scorpio-like in the animals. But the shark says, be aware of your thoughts today. You will need clear focus and intention to get what you desire. So the shark is symbolic. It's a reminder of opportunities in our life that are abundant and that we must move forward to create these opportunities. And hang on one second, I got to save Lily. Oh gosh, it definitely is a wet-a-may kind of day. Okay, I have Lily here. You might see her when we're done, just cuddling her up. But okay, back to the shark. Just exploring the world around you and the emotions within yourself, you're going to be shown new waves. Similar to the eagle, you'll also have abundant opportunities. So the shark is letting us know that the universe can be so much, much more significant. And all we have to do is stop waiting. This spirit animal insists that we do something and do anything to stir up this energy and create motion within ourselves. But the shark also symbolizes that we can also stop dwelling on our weaknesses, look at them from a different perspective so that you can find strength in them. So everything that you perceive as weak has its strong point with the universe's perfect balance. So the shark meaning is really a reminder that we can turn any weakness into one of our strengths, which is so true, right? The other world doesn't function the same as this one. Also, when the shark arrives in our lives, it's to give us a kickstart. They're reminding us that when things are getting complicated, the tough get going, that you can handle even the most severe problems or those severe threats. As a totem animal, you're extremely driven and perpetually moving forward. You meet life full on and prefer to experience everything with undeniable exuberance. So if you have this spirit animal, you're usually in a constant state of renewal. Often, finding a fast-moving career that includes lots of travel, highly predatory. Similar to the Arabian horse, you love challenges and actively seeking them out. You have a unique vision of the world and virtually no concept of death. You're fearless in your choices, and you're often remorseless in the pursuit of your goals. So if you have this power animal, you're often unpredictable and you're continuously on the go in a frenzy of productivity of all things. And if you dream of the shark, that's symbolic of your feelings of anger, hostility, ferocity. So you're undergoing a long and challenging emotional period. So you might be a psychological threat to yourself or even others. Or more likely, you're struggling with your individuality and independence concerning your relationships. But it could also represent someone in your life who is greedy and corrupt. In particular, it indicates that there is someone in your life who goes after whatever they want. They also do this without regard for the well-being or even the sensitivity to others. So just be aware that this person could also be yourself. So if this fish, this shark, is circling something over and over in your dream, that indicates that you have an opportunity that you need to exploit. When you see a lot of these creatures circling in a vision, that represents the fact that you are feeling overwhelmed by your emotions. In other words, you need to allow yourself to experience them before they explode irrationally and instinctively. Are you okay, Lil? Oh my gosh, Lily is on it here. So here's Lily. She's having a moment. Say hi. You're getting excited for Halloween? Oh, okay. Don't want to be on camera? Nothing like having a cat on your lap. Okay, the cards of the day. Do, do, do. Oh, I don't want you that way. Here. Ooh, I don't know if she was purring or hissing at me. Either way, right? So the card of the day. Here we have the Five of Cups. What a magical card this one is. This is from, this Light Seers card deck that I have, a new one. And if these two don't get along, I might have to throw them outside. However, the Five of Cups. So, this is like grieving, disillusionment, disappointment, betrayal, bitterness, wallowing in our self-pity, if you will. But it could also be a broken heart. But, however, the illusion is lifting and you might suddenly find yourself in the middle of a reality, which is like Virgo. Virgo is reality that's painfully disappointing. And your dark night, if your dark night of the soul was a result of somebody else's deception, you need to find the seed of forgiveness in order to avoid creating your own calloused heart, just releasing yourself from any guilt around any of the situation, which is kind of the energy of the day and also in tune with the shark. When we realize that the future we're working towards is no longer an option, like we have to shift the path, it's just easy to focus on the loss, allowing that energy to stagnate and spiral down the spiral into that self-pity. So really don't allow your life force, your energy, your vitality to drain away with the things that you once loved, and just allow your heart to become tender, a tender heart, to really navigate towards that curative magic. The cure is in the magic of finding faith in your future, your heart-centric. So if you're having a hard time letting go, just unhook your heart from your fragmented dreams and give yourself otherworldly permission to envision a brighter future. So what that happens is the visions that come in aren't going to be like what you expect them to be. They're totally otherworldly, but the door is there. So kind of dismantle your grief and reclaim your happiness and consciously just step back onto a path filled with hope and faith, and your tender heart will help or assist you to navigate towards your brightest future, the good and the gooder. And then I have, ding, ding, there we go, the Page of Pentacles. This is really magical. It's about manifesting new opportunities, beginnings, good news, ambitions, skills, financial opportunities. Maybe you're getting a new training, learning something new. Earth Magic herself, the queen herself, making those plans a reality. So you can see she's holding her beautiful little mandala, and she's got this curious, effervescent heart. She's in a yoga pose. I was thinking the eagle, but that's a little different. But her roots herself, she's grounded into the bedrock, which is also kind of, looks kind of like a labyrinth. And she's just understanding the energy of manifesting and the essence that we all hold inside of us. So just remember, when you thought you could be an astronaut or a galactic corridor, go ahead and ground that energy before it dissipates. Whatever that energy was of what you wanted to be. I just said an astronaut for fun. I was thinking of going to Mars with all that coolness happening, but just go ahead for a split second and ground that energy into the earth plane before it dissipates. So when we activate our own personal practical magic with our hopes, we literally will pull that energy up from the earth to really bring it into form. So things have to come down through the crown and our entire outer energetic field land into the Earth star and then come back up to create the magic to bring it into form. Then progress happens one little life stage at a time, one cycle at a time. So you have to anchor into those details while at the same time keeping your head up above the clouds, in the clouds, to the dream. So there might be places within you that still need to be into all of that alignment, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to arrive. We're in the perfect place to kind of figure out how to make your prosperity a reality, whatever that looks like, because we all have an idea of success. It's not the same for each and every one of us. So just see yourself as already confident and know that you're dependable. And remember that you hold this power no matter where you stand today. So it's like these new perspectives and upgrades of consciousness are literally on their way. So really utilize your plans for the future to expedite that arrival. You can still be practical and also realistic, but still run ahead to meet your dreams. So it's like the balancing of the two in the world and outside of the world, and vice versa. And then I pulled the Page of Swords, which is super fun, holding all those light bulbs. So it's like the light bulb is clicking on. So this is kind of like this restless energy. It's curiosity. It's questioning everything, a thirst for information. The book is open, learning those new things. You could possibly be the apprentice, or you could also be the student. You have these pursuits of intellectual capabilities, ideas, and also just being a messenger. So curious and intelligent. So this little page has this thirst for all this knowledge, this unquenchable thirst for getting the information. Incredibly quick-witted, a communicator. You know, she's often compelled to share her variety, like the many, many, many ideas and messages with others. Even at times, you know, she might be so talkative that it becomes too much for the people in the village around her to actually process and integrate, because she's got this intense energy, all that yellow, intense, and it can come across as this unsettled or even more nervous energy. So that would say this isn't grounded, so the information's not landing. So it's a suggestion that we use an air of inventiveness. It's air, right, in our current pursuit. So our goals will be met by walking a path of honest discovery, especially where others are concerned, like the other people. Keeping the light bulb of curiosity just turned on, and cultivate a beginner's mindset as we strive to learn new things. You can see that she kind of is walking on air, those birds there as well. And I don't know if you can see the wind as well, wind carrying the ideas, right? So just avoid falling into gossip or even arrogance when you communicate. The shadow side of this card could also talk about not taking any action at all. But remember that everyone who crosses your path really has something specific to teach us. There really mirrors all around us if we're to remain open to those unexpected lessons and share truthfully and delight in every interaction, find the good in it. So it's like I learn and also I expand my consciousness, and I open up to new opportunities by staying centered in the wind. So today, you know, live in a sacred space of your own inner faith, not so much in your sight. The sight comes in later. And really, first, just send gratitude to the divine in you, and just notice the different insights and the power of spirit, just increasing the wisdom, the inner wisdom, the wisdom in our bones, the knowledge that we all carry inside of us, this ancestral wisdom, and also this otherworldly wisdom that kind of anchors us here to actually do our life purpose, living the life, our prime directive, living the life we're meant to live, holding our own light, being the beacon of that light, and the love of creation herself, the goddess, right? Holding our heartfelt truth in our forever field. That's really a sphere of magical influencers in herself, little spheres, bubbling spheres. So, with all of that, and thanks for tuning in. I know I was a little bit late today, but I affirm the light that resides within me, holding that essence forever, forevermore. Inshallah and Ashe. And as always, I'll see you on the other side. Blessings.